some short-term pain with long-term gain.
Short-term pay for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain, yes, but we've got some long-term gain. Short-term spike for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain for American consumers.
We may have to deal with that in the short term.
Short-term and temporary.
Temporary short-term pain.
It's going to suck in the short term.
Some short-term pain.
Short-term pain. We have to focus on the short term.
Short-term.
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 Short-term and long-term.
Short-term blip.
Hopefully this is a short-term pain. Short-term is highly outweighed of the long-term benefits.
Some short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain.
Extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is 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 extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Welcome, everybody. Steve with Sons of Video. I'm coming at you. Clown Planet News, 9:54 p.m. Wednesday, Hump Day, March 11th. Yeah, March 11th. Sorry, I had to look that up again. March 11th, 2026. I have a ton on you for basically. Remember that link we talked about a couple days ago on Iran and the psyops that they've been in the background, wanting to do digital ID, all in on the Rona. Do it. Remember, Israel was what? The experimental place for the jab. U.S. All these guys were in on that. There's a lot. If you keep up, darn it, I'm trying to get that stopped. If you keep up with what the Great Reset is, you are seeing a ton of that happening right now. I know maybe I might be crazy or wearing tinfoil hats maybe too much, but I don't know. I'm looking at it going, there's something else going on besides the war thing going on. Too much coincidence on everything else. The shutting down of driving, the shutting down of the, people are not going to work now because of the oil and all that. The attack on food, even the food problems are going on with this. We'll get to all that. Again, it's if you remember the list I showed you back in the day, 2030, less flights, less driving, less this, 2050, all eliminated. I don't know. There's something to this that just something's fishy, something stinks, and it ain't the fish. Here, this just came out 50 minutes ago from the White House. This is where you get the idiocracy stuff from, because there's no way you're telling me these are the adults in the room. This is just they're making fun of the whole situation. And this is what the White House comes out with. You see the same stuff with the AI videos that come out with the 15-minute city in Gaza, things like that. I don't know. Like I said, we're not serious people. Here's some good news. A new Tennessee bill would end the state's twice-a-year clock change by requiring residents to remain on standard time year-round. Wait a sec. I don't need a clap for myself. I actually have a clapping button. Hold on. The applause. Yay. I need it again? Nope. Okay, good. Tennessee doesn't have a state income tax. They've also looked to ban geoengineering in the sky, chemtrails. Now it's to a certain height. Above the height, they can do some things. It's kind of weird on the bill. And now they're looking to stop daylight savings time. Fantastic. Hopefully more states will get involved in it. Tennessee is not a bad place to go to, especially this time of the year. Trying to click live site, the link right here is not working. Let me see if that works. All right, that works. All right, here we go. Lifeside News. Trump DOJ asks court to dismiss other states' lawsuit against FDA abortion pill rules. Trump administration is filing a lawsuit by Missouri. We used to call it Missouri, Kansas, and Idaho that changes liberal Brandon era abortion policies, prompting outrage from pro-lifers. I think we talked about this the other day. I'm pretty sure this reminds me of the other. Yeah, that was the 9th. Trump appoints Erica Kirk to the DOD position. Erica will fill her late husband Charlie's seat on the Air Force Academy Board of Visitors. The board oversees morale, curriculum, and academic methods at the U.S. Air Force Academy. Anybody know if the kids are doing okay? I don't, asking for a friend. She's certainly all over the place. The U.S. has 2 months of rare earth supplies left, as CMP reports. I know you got up this morning and you were wondering how much more rare earth supplies were left in the coffins. The U.S. has roughly 2 months left of rare earth supplies available for military use, a constraint that could influence how long Washington can sustain strikes on Iran, the South China Morning Post reported on Tuesday. Rare earth minerals used in missile guidance systems, fighter jets, and radar tech are essential components in modern defense systems, leaving the U.S. vulnerable to supply disruptions from top producer China. Hello from Washington State. Hello from the Carolinas. Welcome, people from Washington. This channel, I'm kind of biased, but I would say yes. I would 100% agree with you. The check is in the mail. Don't cash it because it will bounce. And yes, candlesticks. Okay, why is a lot of love coming on today? Thank you. Why would you be on South Sense Fidelity and no one is watching you? 35 people watching. This is the worst channel I've ever watched. Probably a bot. I don't know. Nora, is that you're a real person? Why would you be on? I don't know. It's my channel. That's an easy answer. Nobody's watching you. You know what? I don't care. 4 people could watch. Afterwards, there's a few thousand will watch afterwards. I don't care about how many people watch live. That's fine. You want to have someone else to go talk to you. There's other guys that sit there and talk about I don't know what for 2 hours. And go watch that. You're going to learn something here. How about that? You don't want to watch? Move on. No one's forcing you. Home sales. This is from Nick Gurley. Home sales just dropped to the lowest level since 2009, down 35% from pandemic's peak, and by 25% from pre-pandemic norms. This was the second worst February reaching in the last 30 years. Traditional news outlets try to claim there was a recovery in demand in February 2026, but that's obviously false. Rather, buyers are on the biggest strike in U.S. history. The solution is to bring them all back, lower the prices. But what did Trump say he's not going to do? He's not going to lower the prices. Maybe people, haters, you're welcome. Yeah, Sensitivity is great without this talking guy. I would agree. It would be great without me. It also wouldn't exist without me either. There's a great line from what's that movie with Adam Sandler, the Wedding Singer. Well, I have the mic and you don't, so you will listen to every word I have to say. If you're sticking around, Noro, grab a drink, enjoy, get some popcorn. I'm kidding with you, man. Ma'am or man or sir, welcome. Your joy. Talk all the hate you want. It'll be fun. Makes it fun. I don't live in a song. No vocal, no volume. Buddy of mine saying on Instagram, there's nothing coming on. I don't know. There's some guys watching on Instagram. If you guys tell me if it's not working on there, but anyways, buddy of mine just text me saying that it wasn't over there. Love Father Ripker on Says Fidelity, not you. Okay, no problem. Cool. That's fine. Jason Bassler, meet Brandon Upchurch when flock cameras misidentified a 7 on his license plate as a number 2. Police pulled him over at gunpoint, unleashed the K9 on him, arrested him, and put him in jail, all for a crime that didn't exist. If this is public safety, the future is already broken. Here's the thing. The city paid $35,000. Flock paid nothing. Here's the link for that. How a license plate camera misread, unraveled one man's life. April 2024, Brandon Upchurch and his cousin were driving home from a convenience store when they noticed flashing lights behind them. When Upchurch pulled over, officers from the Toledo Police Department drew their guns and ordered him out of his red Dodge Ram. He initially refused to turn off the engine or exit the truck and repeatedly asked officers why he was being pulled over. An officer named Adrian Wilson, Adrian, warned that he would deploy his police dog, probably named Rocky, if Upchurch didn't get on the ground. As Upchurch began to get down, Wilson released the animal. The dog latched onto Upchurch's dreadlocks, rammed his head into the ground, and sunk his teeth into his arm. Wilson later said he thought Upchurch had tripped and was getting ready to run. Okay, of course. Your car has a stolen license plate on it, one of the officers said. Is that video of him? Yeah. His plates were not stolen. Upchurch insists that he was transported to a hospital for his injuries and sent to the county jail where he remained for hours. The charges were later dismissed, were obstructing official business and resisting arrest. Upchurch, it turned out, was right. The license plates were not stolen, and he was the truck's registered owner. Yeah, there must be video of him right there. Flock's license plate readers are used by law enforcement agencies, businesses, and homeowner associations, unfortunately. And there are some good people out there that are knocking these things down. Good on them. I applaud those guys. Those are heroes we don't deserve. Founded in 2017, its stated mission is shaping the future of safety. Remember the whole idea of, like I said, Captain America, when he looks at when they're in the dark winter, I think it is. And he points to this, that's not safety, that's fear. See, I was just checking to see the chat, see if Nora was still talking anyway. Anyway, hope you're having a good day, dude. Colin Rugg. Anyway, this shows you that the problems with these tech, and they've had that with other things, but Flock is HD level. I mean, it's pretty high tech, high resolution, and they still got that wrong. Here's an arrest. Maybe they won't show the whole. Let me reset that. Because don't want to scandalize anybody by images. An arrest warrant has been issued for a Kentucky cheerleader who is accused of secretly giving birth before putting the baby in a trash bag. The grand jury has voted to indict Lakin Snelling, a former beauty queen, for manslaughter in the first degree. The decision by the grand jury was made after hearing that the baby was born alive. According to Lexington PD, the cause of death was determined by asphyxiated by undetermined means. She is facing 10 to 20 years in prison. Here in Mexico, you probably seen clips of this the last couple of days. Feminists tore down cross at La Campana before setting the doors on the church on fire. Anti-Catholic terror attacks are now a regular occurrence on March 8th. What's going on March 8th down there? Remember, maybe that was the original. Remember here's the video of the violent feminists in Mexico wreak havoc on International Women's Day. I didn't know that was that day. Sunday, I stayed away from the internet, so I didn't even know. This was, they set the entrance to the historic neoclassical Juarez Theater on Guanajuato from 1872 on fire. Okay, so I remember them back in the day. Remember the guys standing outside the one? I think it was the cathedral. One of them. They're standing there. And the feminists are spray painting them. Where's the man in charge? There is one. We're talking about me? No. I put this out of order. Darn it. All right, we'll get back to it. Trump completely and totally endorses Jake Paul for a political office. And I have no idea why Jake Paul is. Who is Jake Paul running for? Yes. Idiocracy is now a regular feature film. It's not it is a feature film. it became a historical documentary instead of a fictional satire film that it usually was. What is he running for? Oh, Trump endorses Jake Paul. Somebody tell me what Jake Paul. Let me see. This is Jake Paul political office. Let's see if it comes up with anything. Jake Paul for political office. What Trump taught me is courage. You never back down for provide. Prediction or not. I'm going to make prediction that you will be in the not so distant future running for office, and you have my complete and total endorsement. Okay, so he isn't running for anything. Thanks be to God, but he's got Trump's endorsement already. Don't ask me why. Trump says he has a goal of removing Thomas Massie from the U.S. government. Trump says Massie is disloyal to the Republican Party, the people of Kentucky, and these United. Really, is just disloyal to Trump's bad ideas. If you look at the stuff, Massie's pretty much voted with him most of anybody else in the party. But we have to get rid of this loser. He's got to be voted out of office as soon as possible. I don't think he's in Kentucky doing this speech or whatever. But apparently, you can go anywhere you want and talk junk about someone that doesn't even live in that state. When could we get an overview and analysis of the problems in the last conclave? I guess many of us would like to hear Father Ripper's comments on the canon law violations occurred in the last conclave. From Rome. What do you mean? Like the last conclave didn't? I didn't know anybody was talking about the last conclave was not a thing. I'll have to ask. The last conclave seemed like it was, I don't know, legit. Yeah. You have to take that over with Rome on that one. If Rome says the last conclave wasn't legit, but I mean, I know that's out of my payroll for that one. 2025 Project Save Rome. Who's from Rome.info? No idea. Is that? I don't know. Whatever. We'll move on. Here's Mexico again. Catholic women in Guadalajara protected their church from feminist terrorists who wanted to burn it down on March the 8th. Man, did anything happen around your neck of the woods on March 8th? I didn't see or hear anything that was going on. I'll talk about this goes into the think locally, act locally thing. If you don't know what's going on the internet, if you're not living the internet, you had no idea this was going on in Mexico, really. So, I mean, never heard of Jake Paul. He's a MMA or boxer. He talks a lot of smack online. That's the main thing. I think he challenged some boxer to a fight, and it ended up being not much of a lie, just an exhibition. In Ireland, a relatively well-known writer stated last week that the Catholic Church was a state terrorist organization, while another bizarre claimed that Ireland had been a theocracy with a supreme leader in all but name. The Irish media class is in an existential crisis as reports flood in of a 143% increase in mass attendance amongst young people, as well as record numbers of adult baptisms. Many older media talking heads are furious as decades of demoralization and self-loathing are being made to count for nothing as young people reject self-loathing ideology. Good on Ireland. Now I do know there's a lot of Irish people. I have people from Ireland that watch Sons of Fidelity. There's an Irish parish that I have on that I get sermons on here. So I know of Irish people that are they're active out there. God bless all of them out there. We need more on the Irish, more like the Irish out there converting more. I remember say what you say about Michael Voris. He had a great line one time talking to people in Ireland in a conference. Said that one man, St. Patrick, one man converted the entire island. And he looked at this group of men there and goes, "What have y'all been doing?" And it kind of sense you see that with everyone. We get all these guys doing something and nobody's doing anything. By the way, I was at the nursery for plants today, And this lady comes up and sees a car. She works there, and she goes, "Hey, I love that bumper sticker. I have on my bumper on the back of the car a St. Benedict medal, the old school one." And Garcia Moreno quotes, "Liberty for all, liberty for everyone except evil and evildoers." And she had, "Which one are you talking about?" It was just one or two. You have 50% chance. And goes, "Oh, the Garcia Moreno one." She, "Oh yeah." Again, I gave her a kind of history level lesson on who that was. And I told her it was the president of Ecuador in the mid 1800s. And they go, "Oh, I never heard of the guy." So here, take a look at it. This is what he did. And here's the prophecies from Our Lady of Quito, Our Lady of Good Success. And they're from back in the day, and saying that there will be a Catholic president to come and what he did for the country and all that. And one of my favorite stories is about him. There was an earthquake that happened. I can't remember what town it was. It was before his third election. And there was a guy there increasing the price of water, kind of like in a sense, when you hear the libertarians talk about how price inflation is always a good thing, like Scrooge was right. There's an article literally called "Scrooge Was Right," and he comes down and finds out who's doing the price gouging on water, and has him publicly flogged in the middle of town. And nobody else did that after that. So Garcia is a good one. Anyway, people like that. It's one person at a time. Some people dogging Father R for being on Sean Ryan's show. They talk about a massive evangelization campaign right there. How many people are watching that never knew about that, or probably gets milquetoast level lectures from priests or podcasters or such like that, and then just got a full-blown upper gut punch on that. Maybe they start looking at other things. Maybe they find the Sense of Fidelium channel. Maybe they see the playlist for Father R. There's a lot of good to come out of that. So there's a lot of guys that are jealous or hating that he was on there. And I don't know, you kind of see that. That's why like in the Eastern Church, the Eastern Byzantine Church, they have this prayer for it from Saint Ephraim. And it talks about praying against, keep me away from jealousy, pride and slothfulness and inquisitiveness and things like that. Maybe we should start doing that in the West. They want to be centrist, but they all fail to do anything. Okay, I see the first topic. Sweet Steve, hey, goodness, another Steve out there. I was a libertarian until I seen how unhinged they purposely just get a rise out of people. You know what? I was the same way. I was in that back in 2010. When I ran for State House seat 75, I wanted to go as a libertarian, and they hated me that I was pro-life and against the gay marriage. I wasn't remotely near what I am right now on this. I haven't returned to the church officially, like in the main thing yet. They did not like that, and then all the stuff about the violence and things like that. They get really ticked off. Like they get twerked if you don't follow exactly what they say on all that. And I'm a big Ron Paul fan, but I mean, I don't think he's as bad as most of the laymen are, or something like that. I think a lot of people find their way eventually. Yeah, they do. And there's a great book. Chris Ferrara has one on the church and the libertarian. Very, 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 very good book on this topic. Because people call me libertarian because I'm for decentralization and small government and things like that. That's basic conservatism. That's not libertarianism. That's just basic old school conservatism. If you're for a gigantic one centralized state running mugshot despotic state, like right now we have the United States. When people call, like Beck will say, we need to do this to save the republic. And that's a single entity. It's supposed to be a federal republic, but we really got a United States, which is a tyrannical dystopian government that terrorizing the world. Not good. But if you call that out, they go, "Oh, you're a libertarian." I'm actually, that's the real conservatism. Trad West says the Catholic Church will open the first Catholic school in Finland in 2026. The school will follow the Finnish national curriculum, but with a Catholic identity and moral and cultural education. The creation of the school is taking place at a time of growth in the Catholic population in Finland. Hey, so you hear all these bad. Is it perfect out there? No. But try to imagine that you aren't the center of the universe. Maybe your diocese isn't the center of the universe. Maybe these United States of America isn't the center of the universe. Maybe there's other people. You saw Ireland. There's growth in Ireland. There's good stuff happening in Ireland. I don't know. I'm not there. I don't live in Ireland. I've never been to Ireland. But there reports are saying, hey, there's some good stuff going on. Finland. Who knew about anybody? Put your arm up. Put your hand up. Simon says, raise your hand if you knew about Finland. Nobody probably knew about Finland. That looks like, hey, that's a good thing. That's a good thing, right? Hey, yes, there's some bad stuff. That's what everyone reports on because it gets clicks. That article about Finland, let's look. 300, what does it say? Does it show 18,000 views on TradWest, who has 464 followers? You know what that means? Barely anybody's looking at it. How many reshares? 400 reshares on a guy that has almost 500,000 followers. That just shows that nobody is following. If that was some kind of scandalous reporting, man, that thing would have 400 million views, 6 digits and retweets and all that. And then 16 podcasts on that topic. But good news doesn't fly. That's why the news starts off. But if it bleeds, it leads. Let's get into some of the Great Reset stuff. Green development sits at the heart of China's new 5-year plan. The green energy sector alone contributes nearly 11% of national GDP. Analyst Zhu Yu explains how Beijing turned decarbonization into an economic strategy. Green development sits at the heart of China. Oh, I was just going to say, they pretty much redid the same thing. Whitney Webb, here's the original post. Anonymous X users are reporting their full names are being Googled in Israel after they criticize its war crimes. I guarantee, says the Fidelity Miss, because I pretty much on like at least a bi-daily basis will retweet something saying Israel is a terrorist state. After they criticize its war crimes, many link to its X's use of Ox10Tix ID verification software, an Israeli company founded and staffed by ex-Israeli spies. Here's his new report. It's from Mint Press News. Last American Vagabond's already talked about trying to get an interview on this. We'll pull up the report. A wide range of anonymous sex users are being Googled. You already saw that. I already saw that too. I'm not even kidding when I say my full legal name. Tell Martin, a buddy of mine just texted. Jack is watching. He goes, tell Bishop Martin he's not the center of the universe. Your Excellency, if you're watching, which I highly doubt you are, you're not the center of the universe. Somebody clipped that and sent it to him. I don't know. With all due respect. Including my middle name has been searched up in Israel 11 times in the past day, wrote Transfempodis, an anonymous ex-user who has been highly critical of Israel's actions. This was not an isolated incident. So apparently my full legal name got searched for in Israel the other day. Another anonymous far-left user with a Palestinian flag in their bio. Meanwhile, artist Bianco Bandito stated that, quote, my full name got searched 100 times in Israel when I posted this, referring to a cartoon depicting associates of Jeffrey Epstein being executed. Across the world, from conservative Japanese accounts to American conspiracy theorists, anonymous users are reporting that data from Google Trends shows their real names, not divulged anywhere online, are being mass searched in Israel. How could this be happening? Some laid the blame at Ox10Tix door. Only Ox10Tix and X hold data obtained from ID verification, wrote one user in a viral post, adding, the rumors are absolutely true. Israel is now 100% confirmed to be Googling anonymous users on X and their family members shortly after they speak out against the country, wrote another, concluding that X is now the largest honeypot operation on the planet. The theory centers around Israeli security company Ox10Tix, who in 2023 was tasked with verifying users' identities, a prerequisite for joining X's premium service, which allows users a far greater reach. It was founded in 2002 by Ron Altsman, a Unit 8200 veteran whose father was treasurer of Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party. It got its start providing high-tech security systems at airports and other venues. Atzman does not hide his strong political views. His professional LinkedIn profile is littered with posts supporting Israel or condemning American students protesting Israel's attack on Gaza, comparing them to the Klan, or reposting videos of far-right commentator Douglas Murray presenting the protesters as anti-Semitic supporters of Israel. So the guy's an idiot. It's what you're trying to, you could have condensed that a lot of words right there. These AI-driven kill lists allowed the IDF to, they were talking about Lavender. Surely the most deadly adventure was Project Lavender. The group developed the Lavender software, which uses AI and big data to develop a profile of every person in Gaza, including children. This is a Unit 8200 doing this. Corbett just posted another video, assigning them a score of 1 to 100 based on individuals' perceived connections to Hamas. These AI-driven kill lists allowed the IDF to find a way around what they called target bottlenecks, with Lavender identifying over 37,000 Palestinians to be executed in the first few weeks of the attack alone. This was little to no human oversight on these systems. Ox10Tix has insisted that it does not store users' personal data, including their identities. But when a company is founded, headed, and staffed by individuals from one of the most infamous spying organizations on the planet, one whose modus operandi has been to infiltrate, surveil, and blackmail both its allies and its opponents, the question arises, why would you trust them? Yes, Authentic does not take your information. Yeah, and I am the cookie monster. Let's see. Brick is definitely on the list. Yes. Never really had a group of the grasp of how connected these government people are until recently. It's interesting to me how world events have some good merits to them, but meanwhile, also an undercover scheme. Very true. Now looking forward to the centralizing government being abused. Don't worry. It is, and they're not going to use KY jelly during it either. It's going to get much, much worse. Showing up on a list, this is Bricks on X accounts, not friendly to LGBTQ people once. Yeah. Let's see. Don't worry, that gets worse. Here's a quote. This was really good. E.A. Rice of the Rice Report. There's Eric Rice. He says, I think technocratic monarchy is where we're headed. I saw that going, bad. That is a great phrase. Somebody coined that. But what is the guy from Spider-Man? I want a nickel for every time someone says it. No, technocratic monarchy is where we're headed, where there will be specific kings of different realms and regions of the technocracy that are in complete control over centralized AI systems. And I think that what the one world is attributed to is an ecumenical version of a blended religion. So I think a world religion is actually the social control mechanism that they'll be using to pacify people while the technocracy is embedded. And I think that when that technocracy is embedded, that social teachings from the ecumenical blended religion which will involve everything, Jew, Muslim, Christian, we're all worshiping the same God. Interesting that he said that. Very interesting he said that. Now play. There's some good stuff in this.
To get people in zones. We're dealing with two religious sects. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the dark and the light, which is also an occult term for York and Scottish Masons. But we're dealing with God and the devil at the end of the day. And the devil provides earthly power, fame, fortune, all these things. And these people sacrifice themselves to that. And I don't think people realize just how religious Luciferians are. They are extremely dedicated to their craft. And I say craft because it is witchcraft, by the way. And at the end of the day, they're very good at misdirection. And I think a lot of these books, I don't think that the intention that we're seeing right now is a one world government. I think that that was the story to get people involved in politics and voting and all these other prayers to false gods and waste their time while they're embedding a technocracy. I think technocracy is, or a technocratic monarchy to be more specific, I think that is where we're headed, where there will be specific kings of different realms and regions of the technocracy that are in complete control over centralized AI systems. And I think that what the one world is attributed to is an ecumenical version of a blended religion. So I think a world religion is actually the social control mechanism that they'll be using to pacify people while the technocracy is embedded. And I think that when that technocracy is embedded, that social teachings from this ecumenical blended religion, which will involve everything, Jew, Muslim, Christian, oh, we're all worshiping the same God. They've been building this out for 12 years, my friend. They have actually been actively going at this, because think of it from a Luciferian perspective. Is, we're a one world government, liberal, communist, dark side. It's just being so overly exposed right now. It's so obvious to see. I think it was Charles Spurgeon that said, discernment is not knowing the difference between right and wrong. It's knowing the difference between right and almost right. And almost right is where people get trapped. So the obvious evil is this dark world order, right? This one world government. Everyone knows about it. Even your average normie at the grocery store has heard the term New World Order and has an idea of what it is. They don't care, but they know what it is. So if they know what it is and they're setting up, it's kind of like a boxer throwing a bunch of jabs before he throws a right hook and puts you on the canvas. Those jabs get easy to see. The easy to see thing, the darkness, is leading you towards a false light. There's always a false savior. If you look at history, there's never been a good leader, ever. There's never been anyone who's ruled the world that's been good. Even the Bible describes this. David fell out of favor. Solomon fell out of favor. Power does corrupt. And ultimately, I think where we're being led right now is we're being led away from this obvious darkness into a false light. And I think that we're seeing that with, complete heretics praying over the president of the United States in the White House. Everything is about God, 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 all of a sudden. Mass 30,000 baptisms, which, by the way, I'm all for people getting baptized into the kingdom of God. I'm all for that. But we as Christians need to use biblical discernment and track the fruits of people. And I think right now there's plenty of words like Nicki Minaj is a Christian, porn stars are Christians, and they're not Christians, by the way. They're all going to become Catholic. And we have massive Catholic influencers talking about Jews, and we can go back to Roman Judea, and there are bondings since the days of we have no king but Caesar. Life is such a winding road, but to be very point blank and concise with it, I think we're being exposed to massive darkness to create a fury inside of people who will be begging for a false light, and that false light will be an ecumenical one world religion that leads us directly into a social order designed around a technocracy.
So I think he doesn't like Christians or Catholics. We don't need a $50 premium account to listen to him, do we? Does he charge $50? Brick, does he really charge that? I haven't looked. I've never heard of him before. Let me look. Since you brought that up. The Rice Report. The control grid is live. See down this one. What episode? He had Nick Bryan on. Okay. Yeah, Nick Bryan is all about he's been doing Epstein things for a long time. Not too many subscribers. It gets I'm surprised. He doesn't get anybody really looking at him. Many long. Okay. And he has a premium account. Is that what you're telling me? That guy's got a premium account? Just a knock on Pelican. Oh, okay, I got you. Florida is now barreling towards a digital ID system, and the final countdown has already begun. In just 30 days, tech companies could be forced to verify the identities of millions and millions of users A move critics warn could quietly erase online anonymity across the state. For months, Governor Ron DeSantis publicly blasted digital ID, warning it would allow governments to control citizens and track their lives online. He even said such a system would hit a brick wall in Florida. Now, Florida's own law may be opening that door. The Online Protections for Minors Act. Man, how many times? I didn't do a Told You So Tuesday. That's a told. Oh, I don't have the thing. Sorry. My apologies. You're not seeing what I'm reading. Here's the what I'm reading. How many times do I have to say, hey, that's those things are going to lead to bad things, like digital ID. The Online Protections of Minors Act bans children under 14 from holding social media accounts and requires parental approval instead of parents just being parents and not letting their kids have social media or a cell phone or anything like that. Common sense. 14 to 15. To enforce it, platforms must verify users' ages or face civil penalties reaching $50,000 per violation. But here's the catch. There's always a curveball. To prove you're not a minor, many platforms will require government ID checks or biometric scans through third-party verification companies, some of them operating overseas. In other words, billions and millions of adults may soon be forced to identify themselves just to use the internet. You need the alt media has been talking about needing a driver's license for the internet for years. Critics say this is how digital ID systems always begin. First introduced as child protection, then expanded step by step into something much bigger. Floridians now have 30 days before enforcement begins. The real question now is, once the system is built, will it ever be rolled back? And this is on Z Media's report right here. Sorry, Rice Report guy does not like it. It doesn't sound like he does. I got a feeling after just listening to it a couple times, like it doesn't sound like he'd be a friend. But pray for him anyways. Send a reply on email, something that's okay. Government ID. Did Satan oversaw torture? Let's see. By the way, James Fishback has said that he's not going to let any of that happen. But by that time, I don't think it's going to matter. When every president digital ID picks that's the guys lost my vote. Enjoy your retirement. Yeah. Confirm with ID. Oh yeah, that's what I forgot to put up was what's over here? Yeah, here it is. Whitney Webb retweeted that saying, won't be fun when X Money launches next month, and then they can cancel your account and steal your money after you criticize war crimes that big tech is complicit in. Please be smarter and keep your finances off of Musk's would-be everything app as much as you possibly can. Where am I at here? Let's play the anti-Semite. Remember the EO from Trump back in the day? Here is this guy.
Laws. The scourge of anti-Semitism must be defeated anywhere and everywhere that it exists. As we just heard before, from holding universities accountable to using laws within the Justice Department, existing laws, to hold and prosecute crimes against the Jewish community, from preventing people from working and going to worship in their shuls. And then, as was touched on very briefly, but a visa vetting program that we are just beginning now to see the results.
So anti-Semites will not work. Rabbi Yehuda Kaplan, State Department Special Envoy on new legal measures, says. That shouldn't be shocking. Remember, Whitey House put an EO about anti-Semitism, and they're all about it now. It'll get worse. Here's Highwire. You bought a pair of glasses. You wore them around your house, maybe in the bathroom, maybe changing clothes. And strangers in Nairobi were watching. An investigation of Swedish outlet Svenska Dagbladet has revealed that Meta's AI smart glasses are sending video and audio recordings, including footage of naked bodies, bathroom activities, and unblurred bank card numbers to human data annotators at a Meta subcontractor in Kenya. Maybe you'll get a call from a prince one of these days. Workers there, bound by NDAs, describe what they see every day. Quote, "We see everything from living rooms to naked bodies." Another said, "You understand that it is someone's private life you are looking at, but at the same time, you are just expected to carry out the work. You are not supposed to question it. If you start asking questions, you are gone." Meta says users control their own settings. The terms of service may say human review may occur depending on your settings, with no opt-out option for mandatory AI training data. 7 million pairs were sold in 2025 alone. Meta is reportedly pushing to double production to 20 million by end of year. They're also working on adding facial rec directly into the glasses. 2 Harvard students already demonstrated they could identify a stranger on the street and find their home address using the glasses and existing hardware. Wait till they get the upgrades. A class action lawsuit has been filed by the North District of California. It says consumers purchased these glasses in reliance on Meta's privacy assurances and could not reasonably have known their bedrooms, bathrooms, and bodies would be viewed by strangers worldwide. This is the surveillance economy. Your data is worth more than the $799 you pay for the glasses. You buy these glasses, I would say you need your head rearranged. It's going to be good night. But again, us won't be buying it, but it's other people that are buying it that you don't even know if they even have it, and they're recording you if you're walking around the street, the gym, whatever. Here is UBI Works, and that when I say UBI Works, that is the Universal Basic Income Works Twitter page. Andrew Yang, he ran for president, I think, a couple of years ago. Kamala had less fans than he did. Andrew Yang says we should stop taxing workers and tax AI instead. That can fund UBI. We should try to stop taxing labor. Yeah, these guys are talking about trying to get the UBI, and it's why would they do that? I don't know. I'll tell you here in a little bit. Just then, Spain's prime minister announces a tool to measure hate speech on digital platforms. Hodeo will allow government to systematically track the presence, amplification, and impact of hate speech online, says Reuters. By the way, you think about all these stuff with the anti-Semitism stuff. Wait till you go to a trad mass and, I don't know, Good Friday, and you have somebody in meta glasses or something like that, or somebody that's telling everyone, hey, by the way, those prayers are anti-Semitic. They're not, but you know what I mean. They're going to see that as that maybe the jackbooted thugs start pulling in the churches and arresting everybody in there for being anti-Semitic. You might think that's far-fetched. Remember, they closed down the world 5 years ago. That's just in. Anthony Westgate, nobody is prepared for what's coming. There's some screenshots from 2020, June 1st. What the COVID-19 pandemic teaches us about cybersecurity and how to prepare for the inevitable global cyber attack. This is cyber Polygon. We've been talking about that for years. If you don't know what that is, look up cyber Polygon. You'll think about it. The only way to stop an exponential propagation of cyber COVID would be to fully disconnect all vulnerable devices from one another and the internet to avoid infection. The whole world could experience cyber lockdown until a digital vaccine was developed. They're not joking about this. All business communication and data transfers would be blocked. Social contact would be reduced to people contactable by in-person visits, copper landline, snail mail, or shortwave radio. And what did I show you? Was a Monday or Friday? Either one. Go back and look at it. President Trump's cyber strategy for America, March 2026. Came out Friday or Monday, whichever one. My days are all blurred up. March 3rd, 2026, NCSC warns of cyber spillover amid Middle East conflict as experts flag potential Iranian attacks on critical infrastructure. False flag season didn't start. Yeah, false flag season is here. Yeah, look at us. We got more on that one too. Mr. Honestly, rooting for the bad guys on this one. Speaking, remember I told you about the UBI? There is no return to normal on oil anytime soon. What did they say about Rona? Oh, we're at the new normal. There won't be a return to the old normal. There is no. It's gone. What was the direct words of Schwab? It's gone. We're not returning to the old normal. There is no return to to normal on oil anytime soon. Financial Times. Sounds like rodent. Here's geopolitics and empire. Iran is the new COVID. Vietnam urges people to work from home to save fuel as Iran war disrupts supplies. Yeah, work from home. You've heard that before, right? Food chain reactions crisis simulation ends with global carbon tax, November 12th, 2015. There's the Cargill and Nelson Rockefeller came up time and time again as the big winners of Operation Condor and disappearing the tens of thousands of people as a monopolized land in America. There's the American family with 14 billionaires, more than any family on earth. They control the entire global food supply. Grow your own food. You know what I did today? I bought a fig tree. I got plants back in the back that were lived for 50 years growing tons and tons of fruit. And if I just had my own place, I'd have some chickens, I'd have some meat on there at least, get some eggs. That's the only thing I'm missing. I have some ducks, things of that nature. But yeah, what do I got out there now? I got some Chilean guava, which will produce a ton of food, not too big, about 6 foot tall. I got the fig out there. I got an avocado that's hardy, it's a heavy producer. The fig is a Texas fig that's very hardy and apparently a big producer. What else? Lovage I got out there. Lovage chives will last forever. I got strawberries, just planted some more strawberries today. Serviceberry, that will go forever. What else? I know pineapples won't last forever. Not that you're not going to rely on that. Elderberry is going good. I got some chokeberry. They'll be going good. What else? Mint out the wazoo. Anyway, start growing your own food. Hey, from Tucson. Oh yeah, Tucson, Arizona. There's a plant. What is it? Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm thinking about getting this. This will work in Tucson if you want to grow some of this. Jujube? Is it jujube dates? You ever heard of these? These are great. Oranges have about 45 grams of vitamin C. Kiwi is almost 100, and that's supposed to be like the top dog. This has 5 million. It's incredible size. I mean, does it even have it on here? If you have any issues with blood sugar related, this will help out too. They look like they're rot. They look like they're dried and terrible. This is why they're wrinkly. This is supposedly when they're best, and they work great in dry weather like Arizona, New Mexico, Southern California, things like that. I want to see if people here like it first, and then I might try to grow it because I can just keep it in a pot and let it dry out. Hard to grow stuff. Depends on where you're at. I have a huge property, but it's rocks. This would grow in the rocks. Guarantee it. Move the rocks out, grow. Tiff, I can tell you something. Amaranth, this right here, this will grow in the rocks. It'd grow in 100-degree weather. Purslane would grow where you're at. One of the best things too, purslane. Tons of. If you want to ask me, I'll give you some stuff that you can do. But you can grow some. You just got to grow the right stuff. It's hard to grow, yes, but if you grow the right stuff, you'll be able to. The jujube will grow in your area. I guarantee it. And let's see where we at here. Back to the program. Trump says he's been briefed on Iranian sleeper cells inside these United States. We know where most of them are. We've got an eye on all of them, I think. Wait a minute. Don't you have flock cameras everywhere? You should know where everybody's at. You got the NSA that knows everything about anybody. Why? What do you mean? I think you should know where everyone is at. As Father Ripper changed his views on Trump with all the digital surveillance stuff being implemented in the background and Epstein. Well, he's not a cheerleader. No, I guarantee you that. I won't answer for him, but I can tell you that he's not a cheerleader for everything that's going on. Yeah. Iran could hit data centers in the Middle East used by U.S. in their ops against Iran, informed diplomatic source tells RT. U.S. using data centers to support intel and military ops, and reports that governments of these countries taken no special measures to prevent this abuse by the United States. Here's Geopolitics and Empire again. Iran is the new COVID. The next phase of the Great Reset is here, training the plebes for communist-style rationing and 15-minute city. Electronic concentration camp home lockdowns again. The Thai government will require most government agencies to adopt full work-from-home arrangements as part of emergency measures to curb energy demand. Wait till that get. What if that gets? Trump is saying we're mission accomplished, right? They all saying, I know so many trackers. We probably. I'll ask them. We text a lot. We're in a bunch of group chats and things like that. I'll ask him to talk about it. I don't know if he'll want to do it. I'll ask. But yeah, wait till it gets here. We're only in March. Wait till it warms up. And they're still in this war. Because now, Trump is saying we're out of it. And then they're saying we got 3 more months. We got 2 more months. This is going to last for quite some time. Wait till it gets here. And you're going to have to, maybe you're not allowed to stay. Maybe you got to stay at home. Maybe this is Rona 2.0 without the toilet paper shortage. And the sniffles. Oh, by the way, I got some that's what I was going to do. I keep forgetting to record for the Sense of Fidelity Garden channel, and the purple dead nettle is all over the place in the backyard. So I got to do that. That's great for allergies right now, by the way. If you have any allergies, things, purple dead nettle will help out. Make a tea out of it, make a tincture it, whatever. You probably see it in your backyard, wherever you are. Megatron, breaking. Iran is expanding the targets. Iran published a hit list naming Google, Amazon, Microsoft, NVIDIA, IBM, Oracle, and Palantir offices across Israel, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi as legitimate targets, says CNN. Billions of dollars in investments are going to be destroyed. I'm not for blowing up just regular buildings, but I'm not going to say anything. I don't think anybody's going to shed a tear if Palantir goes underwater or anything like that. Obviously, where everybody stands on that. If you're watching the show, you know what Palantir is. We just talked about it anyway. Here's a little bit of stuff that's going on. Vietnam told people to work from home because they're running out of fuel. Bangladesh started fuel rationing, limits on how much you can pump per vehicle. Remember, back in Rona days, Mexico City was doing that. A lot of places were doing it. In Mexico City, you had to do it every other day, depending on the last end of your driver's license. You were even and odd every other day. Asia-wide petrol prices surging. Traders can't even find alternative supply. Thousands of flights canceled. Airlines rerouting everything, carrying extra fuel, making emergency refueling stops. British Airways parent company crashed 6%. EasyJet down 4%. Airlines reviewing all growth plans. U.S. airlines stopped hedging fuel costs years ago, now eating $120 a barrel of raw. In the UK, Australia, fuel prices surging across Australia, Asia, Europe, no end in sight. The UAE Ruwas refinery, 922,000 barrels per day, offline after drone strike. Saudi's biggest refinery offline. Qatar's top LNG facility shut. Strait of Hormuz, one escalation from total closure. JP Morgan, 4.7 million barrels a day in cuts if Strait closes by day 18. G7 holding emergency meeting tomorrow on releasing oil reserves. France preparing military mission just to reopen shipping lanes. Countries are rationing fuel. Airlines are canceling flights. Entire economies are telling people to stay home. This is only day 11. Prepare accordingly. This is being buried in the algorithm. Retweet before it disappears. I already retweeted for you. And for it to be buried in the algorithm, he's got 3.6 million views. I don't know if that's actually getting buried in the algorithm, but yes, plan ahead. Again, that's why I kind of got some extra stuff that let it grow. Mulberry, put a white mulberry will grow quick. Black mulberry, red mulberry is native to the area. They're all good. They're all, you won't be able to eat all the fruit. So get stuff like that. What else? Oh, my peaches look good, by the way. I can't wait for the peaches to bloom. Hopefully the cold snap next week won't hurt them. Speaking of food, Iowa farmer. We've had a huge jump in fertilizer prices because of this conflict, with 30% of fertilizer coming through the Strait of Hormuz. We've only been in conflict for 12 days here, and our fertilizer costs have jumped 77%. Translation, your food price is going to go up. Also, you can fertilize without needing all that. One, you can compost. Two, you could drop, if you know comfrey, you can cut the comfrey leaves, drop them in the ground. They'll fertilize. There's so many natural fertilizers out there. Again, this is just commercial market. They have to do that because they can't do the other way. And that's the problem. Most people don't know how to even grow their own stuff, just a little bit. So you have to rely on the big box things who throw pesticides all over, poison all over it. And then you eat it, and now they're going to raise it up because of fertilizer. Grow your own stuff. Like I'm waiting for the week to get the cold to get away. Because I got a bunch of beans here. These are kidney beans, black beans, pinto beans. I feel like I'm about to turn into Bubba Gump, jumbo shrimp, bag of shrimp on the Barbie. Yeah, there's many different things. And I have to wait till next week to do watercress. I'm trying to figure out. I know I can do this. This is, imagine lettuce, but 1,000 times better. Lamb's quarter, I got to throw that down there. Goji berries. My melons are this big in the grow pot. I can't put them out there because the freeze is going to kill them. Anyways, yeah, look into growing your own food. Here's Trump. I'll just let him say it. His mission accomplished. That's where we got the thumbnail for today.
Is that a great name? Well, it's only good if you win. You can only do. And we've won. Let me say, we've won. You never like to say too early you won. We won. We won the best. In the first hour, it was over. But we won. But they gave me a list of names at general. Sir, you can pick the name you'd like, sir. I said, the name of what? The name of the attack on Iran, sir. And they gave me like 20 names. And I'm like falling asleep. I didn't like any of them. Then I see Epic Fury. I said, I like that name.
Sounds like Epic Fury. There's something wrong with him right now, isn't it? He's not like the guy you knew 6 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. This just in, U.S. officials are preparing for another Iran strike that will last at least just 2 more weeks. There are 15 weeks to flatten the curve. Now we got 15 weeks, 15 days to flatten the curve. Now we got 15 days to flatten Iran, apparently. We're flattening the world. Yeah. We won on day 1, but yet we're about to go for a 2-week mission thing. War with Iran will end soon, Trump tells Axios. They're practically left nothing to target. When I want to end it, it'll end. We're way ahead of schedule. We're way ahead of schedule. What is he talking about? Here's Trump wants the Department of Homeland Security fully funded and reopened to every American missing a paycheck or stuck in endless TSA lines. Thank a Democrat, which wrong. Anyway, DSA and TSA shouldn't exist anyways. That all came from the 2001 fear campaign after the World Trade Center things that happened. That if you still believe that 7 or 9 guys with box cutters did all that and took out 3 buildings with 2 planes, I guess then you'll believe anything the TV will tell you. But yeah, just the lines for there's some lines with TSA going in the parking lot. Again, they shouldn't even exist. Boeing gets $298 million contract with Israel for around 5,000 air-launched smart bombs, says Bloomberg. I feel extremely betrayed by Trump. I think you and a lot of others are. I'm not going to rub salt in the wound and said, hey, I was telling everyone this months and months and months before this all happened. That it wasn't even an election, that he was going to get that. Play the quarter video now. That is a great video. The 5-minute one, the conspiracy theory in 5 minutes. Satellite analysis finds that at least 17 U.S. sites damaged in Iran war. At least 17 U.S. military, diplomatic, and air defense sites across the Middle East have been damaged since the war with Iran began, according to New York Times analysis based on satellite imagery, verified videos, and official statements. The strikes have hit 11 U.S. military bases or installations across Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, Iraq, and Jordan. Several sites, including Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, Ali Al Samel Air Base. You see it. Satellite images also show damage to air defense radar systems and communications infrastructure across the region, some valued at hundreds of millions of dollars. Antiwar.com blog, missile fragments from Iran school massacre marked made in the USA, but Trump keeps lying about not knowing where it was or blaming Iran. I thought he had a photo of it. I saw a photo of it online. Speaking of which, let me check out Anti-War, see what their generals singing in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Probe, U.S. responsible for bombing Iran school. Coalition calls for ending prep for military drafts. U.S. Israel strikes hit civilian targets across Iran. As many as 150 U.S. troops wounded in Iran's war so far. U.S.-Israel war kills hundreds of Iranian Lebanese kids. Record pace of strikes in Iran bombing campaign. Trump issues threats over Strait of Hormuz. U.S. tries to distance itself from Israeli strikes on Iran oil infrastructure. Witkoff admits he doesn't know how Iran war ends. He doesn't know how it ends. U.S. moving parts of THAAD system from South Korea to Mideast. Israel says it's too late for Lebanon peace talks. It's too late to make him cry. Syrian president vows absolute support to disarm Hezbollah. Lindsey Graham, I will be with Israel until our dying day, says the Zionist from South Kakalaki. Airstrike kills 4 PMF fighters in Iraq. U.S. bombs Somalia for the 43rd time this year. Hey, Somalia doesn't get any love anymore. We haven't bombed it in days. Yep, there have been 43 times. They took a couple weeks off. Remember, last year they bombed Somalia over 115 times. You might not have heard that. I know if you were watching here, you knew about that. Meet the Americans withholding their federal income tax to protest against Trump. My taxes should not fund war crimes. Yep. Yeah, I like it. Declare. Excuse me. As was an Instagram video of some people saying that. I'm Rachel, and I'm not paying my federal income tax this year. Okay, I'm cool. To have this work, you need everybody to do that. Strait of Hormuz in crosshairs of Iran conflict as attacks on ships escalate. Russia is also now giving Iran specific advice on drone tactics, a source tells CNN. This was the March 11th. I think I brought that up Friday, that Russia was telling Iran this. Anybody see the Illuminati playing card, tax reform? Yeah. Sorry, I'm speeding up just a little bit. I got a ton of links to go. We're already past an hour and 10 minutes. Here's a World Affairs says, Iran will target all American banks tonight. Talk about a fear-porn clickbait text tweet. No, that's not how it is. A correction, since people like clicks, I said, U.S. and Israeli-linked economic centers and banks in the Middle East region, Gulf hubs like Dubai, in retaliation for a strike on an Iranian bank in Tehran, not all American banks tonight. We kind of, words matter. Breaking press. Why did U.S. go to war? Senator, Israel made us do it. Yeah, here's a clip. This is not what the U.S. did to Hiroshima. This is what the U.S. is doing to Tehran right now. This was earlier today. Trump just threatening to take Iran out with a nuclear bomb. Now, he didn't say those words. Play it for you. He didn't say it, but yeah, I wouldn't put it past them, especially the way he kind of hints at things.
They've lost their Navy, they've lost their Air Force. They have no anti-aircraft apparatus at all.
By the way, memory says
radar. Their leaders are gone. And we could do a lot worse to one another. We're leaving certain things that if we take them out, or we could take them out by this afternoon, in fact, within an hour, they literally would never be able to build that country back.
That kind of sounds like Dookie. Never be able to build that country back. What are you talking about, Dan? By the way, just wait. Remember, he said that there's no more Navy, no more Air Force. That was always a backdoor for them. Yep, 100%. Manuela Romania says, yes, wow, the bill in Florida. There's always a backdoor. Yep. And we've said that many times. Every time they do that for the kids, they're lying to you. It's just the nose under a camel's tent to get in the digital ID. There's a AEP breaking about 100 U.S. troops have been wounded in Iran war, including 8 severely. The Pentagram says Iran planning attack on California. FBI warns. Remember that whole thing with that? Trump just said the Navy's gone, the Air Force is gone. All right, so how are they getting to Iran with the drones to California then? I might be an idiot. Question in the back from the idiot. How they get the drones over then? I mean, are they taking a flight from Qatar Air? How they do that? Iran is planning an attack on California. All right, how's Iran getting to California? Now they're on record saying they don't care about coming over to the mainland because they got plenty of targets over in the Middle East to take care of, and they're not dumb enough to go across the globe to do something like that. So the FBI is saying, watch out for this. Better watch out for false flags. I don't believe that one bit. If they say that their own narrative, we destroyed their Navy, we destroyed their Air Force. All right, then how are they getting over there? You can't fly a drone across the Pacific. And why would they go to California? Why would they go to DC? If I was in Iran, thinking, how can I attack the U.S. somehow? I'm thinking DC. I'm not thinking Sacramento. Or they were going to use those Navy vessels. They got the balloons. Remember the balloon issue, the balloon gate from Mexico that was going across the border. They got some balloons. Is that they could use the Chinese balloons to fly them across or something like that? Yeah, people are eating this up. Do not buy this for 1 second. FBI warns Iran inspired to attack California with drones. And why would they attack California? Do they not like gruesome Newsom? I mean, I don't know if they care. I mean Newsom, then we're already in an attack. It's just the 4th and 5th generation warfare. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Our government's against us. Yeah, I don't buy this attack thing. Here are confirmed casualties across 12 countries that have been targeted by U.S., Israeli, and Iranian attacks as of Wednesday at 5:30 GM time. Lebanon, 570 killed, 1,400 injured. Iraq, 15 killed. Iran, 1,255 killed, 12,000 injured. Kuwait, 6. Jordan, 14 injured. Israel, 13 killed, nearly 2,000 injured. Saudi Arabia, 2. Bahrain, 2. Qatar, 16 injured. UAE, 6 killed, 122 injured. Oman, 1 killed, 6 injured. U.S. military, 8 killed, 140, 150 injured. Trump says he started the Iran war to keep us out of... Okay. I don't know how to say that. I'll let him say it.
Questions, Peter?
Yes. You just said it is a little excursion and you said it is a war. So which one is it?
Well, it's both. It's both. It's an excursion that will keep us out of a war. And the war is going to be, for them, it's a war. For us, it's turned out to be easier than we thought.
There's sometimes he's just like, Mr. Trump. There's no way you really said that. BBC correspondent in Tel Aviv, Israel is in partial lockdown. The streets are empty due to fear of Iranian attacks. Shops are closed, and this situation is becoming unbearable for the population. So what is it? Is it Trump saying it's so easy and he's going out playing golf, or is it, hell over there? What is it? I mean, in a sense, we really don't know because you're just getting footage from there. None of us are over there. So we have to rely on whatever the media is showing us, whether it's from people online that's over there or here. None of us can verify except for just seeing what we can see with our own eyes. So, I mean, it could be just, I honestly have no idea, to be completely honest. The IEA agrees to release a record 400 million barrels of oil to address Iran war's supply disruption. The International Energy Agency's 32 member countries agree to release 400 million barrels of oil to address the Iran war supply. We already said that. It's the largest release of energy stockpiles in the history of the IEA. Advanced economic members are Europe, North America, and Northeast Asia. Japan said earlier it will release oil stockpiles as early as next week. Here's a myth. This is from yesterday. The past 30 minutes have been wild. U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright posted that a U.S. ship had officially gone through the strait. Markets loved it. Oil tanked. The idea that war was coming to an end started to have some legitimacy. Remember that? Everyone probably saw that. Then he deleted the tweet, which got markets to think things aren't actually going well. Now, Carolyn Levitt confirms that a U.S. ship has not gone through the strait, and oil is now pumping again. Iranian drone strikes hit Oman's largest oil storage facility.
Kilometers will it have on the entire world, and which country will be affected the most? First, let's understand what the Strait of Hormuz actually is. It is a small area of just 33 kilometers located between Iran, Oman, and the UAE. It is a narrow sea passage through which almost 20% of the world's oil supply flows, nearly 17 million barrels every day. This oil comes from 8 countries located in the Persian Gulf, including Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE for the United Arab Emirates. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Qatar. 90% of their oil exports pass through this narrow route to reach the rest of the world. If Iran blocks the Strait of Hormuz, following countries will suffer the most damage. First is India, because it imports 85% of its oil, and 60% of that comes from Middle Eastern countries like Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and the UAE. Fuel prices in India would skyrocket, and as a result, everything related to oil in all industries would face severe disruption. Industries could shut down, there would be job losses, and the economy would be severely affected. The second most affected country would be China. China is the world's largest oil importer, bringing in 10 million barrels of oil every day. 40% of China's oil imports pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Although China has built oil pipelines with Russia and Central Asia, they don't even fulfill 20% of its energy needs. So if the Strait of Hormuz is blocked, China's economy could suffer a massive blow. And if China's economy has shaken, its effects will be felt all over the world. The third most affected country would be Japan, as it imports 90% of its oil and 75% of that passes through the Strait of Hormuz. The fourth most affected country would be Saudi Arabia. 80 to 90% of Saudi Arabia's oil goes to the rest of the world through Strait of Hormuz, while only 10% goes to Europe via its Red Sea coastline. So if this choke point is blocked, Saudi Arabia's economy will be heavily impacted. Imagine that a country suddenly loses 80 to 90% of its revenue. What would happen to it? Something similar could happen to Saudi Arabia. There's also a high chance that Saudi Arabia might send in its military to reopen the route, and that could make the situation even worse. Fifth is Pakistan, which gets about 90% of its oil through the Strait of Hormuz. This oil meets around 27% of the country's energy needs. So if the route is blocked, prices in Pakistan could rise sharply. But there's an interesting twist. Since Pakistan shares a border with Iran, and several government reports suggest that 35% of Pakistan's diesel comes unofficially from Iran. So if the strait is blocked, Pakistan might turn to Iran for oil, either quietly or through an official deal. Next in line is the UAE, because as nearly as 72% of its oil exports rely on the Strait of Hormuz. The country does have a backup option, the Habyan Fujairah pipeline, which allows it to bypass the strait and export up to 60% of its oil. But for a major economy like the UAE, losing the remaining 40% would still be a serious blow. Next comes the European countries like France, Germany, and Italy, which on average get 10% of their oil through the Strait of Hormuz. A blockade here would hit them hard as well. Globally, experts warn that oil prices could soar past $150 a barrel, causing widespread inflation and possibly triggering a major global recession. So this small 33-kilometer area holds enough power to shake the entire world.
I'm sure you already knew that, but I figured, just a little. All these links are in the show notes, by the way. Underneath this video, you'll see the link. Click it and check it out. And if you like any, send it to anybody. See. I'll go ahead and just click. My mouse is not working as well as should be. Maybe the mouse is going on strike.
Price, but again, well, certainly these are the kinds of moments that these reserves are used for, because what we have here is not a shortage of energy in the world. We've got a transit problem, which is temporary. And when you have a temporary transit problem that we're resolving militarily and diplomatically, which we can resolve and will resolve, this is the perfect time to think about releasing some of those to take some pressure off of the global price. But again, as you've seen, President Trump's leadership itself is helping to keep prices down all over the world right now.
It's always about the leadership. Yes, his leadership is keeping it down. Okay. Iran, we have not mined the Strait of Hormuz yet, and we do not need the Navy to do that. So the Strait of Hormuz can be mined with our new rockets, and this is the new tech. Yeah. Iran shipped over 11 billion barrels of oil via Strait of Hormuz since the war began, all to China. Says China's getting all its oil. Everyone else, no soup for you. Come back 1 year. Iran, not a single liter of oil will pass through the Strait of Hormuz if it benefits Iran, Israel, and allies. Military spokes warned any tanker bound for them will be legitimate target. Prepare for $200 per barrel, they say. The Strait of Hormuz is in great shape. That's why I call it Clown Planet. American-owned oil tanker struck by an explosive drone boats near Iraqi waters, preliminary reports indicate. U.S. to release 172 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. The Strait's in great shape. Diesel prices, here's from North Carolina. Diesel prices climbed nearly $1 in North Carolina amid Iran conflict. Military spokes Strait of Hormuz under full control of IRGC Navy without a doubt. American aggressor and their partners have no right of passage. Go back to here. Strait of Hormuz is in great shape. Trump announced that he will activate the Strategic Oil Reserve, the SPR. Oil prices will fall more than many expect from this. It should. We shall see. This was hysterical. Iran trolls Trump with Lego AI-generated propaganda video that mocks his Epstein ties. If you haven't seen it, it is hysterical. Somebody, I bet Lego's upset, but I don't know. How Iran's horizontal warfare could trap Trump into another Vietnam. Widening the conflict is a classic tactic for outgunned combatants. It has cost the U.S. dearly in the past. Not out of the realm of possibility. And nobody has ever won any battle with just air support. It's going to be boots on the ground, 100% chance. NATO countries slammed as armed forces bill raises military reserve age to 65. Britain plans to raise the military strategic reserve from 55 to 65 under a new armed forces bill designed to mobilize thousands of veterans. Why would you have guys that are 60? What? Oh, by the way, the U.S. is talking about it too. Florida bill will open door to building more housing in the Everglades. So in case you want to make sure that python or alligator goes up in your front yard a little bit closer, let's build in their backyard. It's weird. Hormuz is another name for Mazda. Yeah, Zoroastrian. Yeah. In sports, there's a guy, Bam something, scored 83 points. And here's Robert Ory saying, Bam's 83 needs an asterisk. 43 shots, 43 free throws. I saw some highlights. 83 is impressive, but it gets to the point where you have to respect the game. There were moments in this game that wasn't respected. It'll go down as the second most in the game. I'm putting an asterisk by this one. It was kind of whatever happened was a weird event. They were fouling guys just to get them at the free throw line. In other sports, the United States of America, Team USA got beat by Italy. The Italian broadcaster are going nuts. The Italians' defeat of the USA in the World Baseball Classic, 8-6. If anybody cares about eating ice cream, here's some health reasons to why you should do that.
Ice cream is now considered a superfood by science. Harvard studied regular ice cream eaters for 40 years and found people who eat.
I would say if you make your own ice cream with raw milk and raw stuff, I wouldn't say like Ben and Jerry's.
Ice cream twice a week have a significantly lower risk of developing diabetes. The study tracked 190,000 people, and the benefits of ice cream were clear. Real ice cream is made from cream, milk, and sugar and contains something called the milk-fat globule membrane, believed to protect metabolic health and may even reduce cholesterol. The problem is most ice creams like these aren't even considered real ice cream because they quietly replace the milk fat with stabilizers and vegetable oils. One of the best things you can do is make ice cream at home using heavy cream, egg yolks, honey, and real vanilla. Or if you want to buy it from a store, check for top-rated ice cream on the Oasis app. Some of the top-rated brands include Ice Cream for Bears, Alex Ice Cream, which actually sources from pasture-foraged cows, and Strauss Creamery. Ice cream is...
We got an ice cream maker here, and we'll use the raw milk to make it like that. It's very good. Yes, homemade ice cream is so good. So yes, use good material, good ingredients, and yes, it probably is really great for you. Ben & Jerry's would not be that. In other one, again, this is Clown Planet for a reason. Believe it or not, playful touch like squeezing your partner's butt isn't just, hopefully you're married when you're doing it. It's actually a boost in health. You can read it. You can look at it. Check it out in the show notes. Again, and get a little laugh in there. And again, it's not Clown Planet for nothing. 1953, A Raisin in the Sun debuts on Broadway. 2020, the World Health Organization declared that the Rona-19 outbreak was a pandemic. Remember, can you imagine that? 6 years ago today. Welcome, everybody. Remember that? I remember exactly that. It was a men's conference. My son's birthday party was that weekend. And the next week is when everything shut down. 2011, an earthquake struck the northeastern coast of Honshu, Japan, causing widespread damage to the country. They should have to. Hopefully tomorrow they'll say 2020, the toilet paper in the United States was gone. 2006, Michelle Bachelet was sworn into office. Can you believe that 6 years ago, the whole world shut down? 2004, just 3 days before Spain's general elections, a series of 10 bombs were detonated by Islamist militants in Madrid. 1990, following the vote in parliament, Lithuania becomes the first Soviet republic to declare its independence from USSR. Translation, Lithuania seceded from the Soviet Republic, and the U.S. backed it up. They helped it. They promoted it. They applauded it. We need secession movements here. 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev succeeded Konstantin Chernenko as leader of the Soviet Union. 1942, during World War II, Allied forces in Southwest Pacific Theater came under the command of U.S. General Douglas MacArthur following his tour in Philippines. 1941, U.S. passed the Lend-Lease Act, which gave the president authority to aid any nation whose defense was believed vital to U.S. interests. We're talking about an abuse. That should have been unconstitutional. 1930, William Howard Taft was the first U.S. president to be buried in Arlington National Cemetery in Arlington, Virginia. 1926, Ralph David Abernathy, who was MLK Jr.'s chief aide and closest associate, was born in Linden, Alabama. 1918, one of the most devastating pandemics in human history reached the U.S. as the country reported its first cases of the Spanish flu, but it was really the Kansas flu. Look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about. It was the Kansas flu. 1916, Harold Wilson, who led the Labour Party at the victory in the 4 general elections as the Prime Minister in UK, was born. 1888, a winter storm began in the Atlantic coast of the United States, ultimately blanketing New York City. New York City! Yes, New York City with 22 inches. 1811, in Arnold, Nottingham, textile workers staged the first major Luddite riot in England. In 1544, Torquato Tassi, one of the greatest Italian poets in late Renaissance, was born in Sorrento in the Kingdom of Naples. Wait, the Kingdom of Naples, not the country of Italy? No, see, Italy, by the way, if you get the book, if you get the book, I got my own finally, The Idol of a Nation. It talks about unification like that. Can't remember what page it's on. Should have had that. I did think about didn't think about that at the time. Anyways, yes, Italy was many different. Here it is. After unification, let's see. Where's Italy before unification, pre-1861, approximately 7 major states: Kingdom of Sardinia, Piedmont, Kingdom of the Two Sicilies, Papal States, Grand Duchy of Tuscany, Duchy of Parma, Duchy of Modena, and Lombardy Veneto, the Austrian control. Each had distinct administrative systems, legal traditions of varying degrees of constitutional governance, how it worked before. Regional identities were strong. Local elites governed. Papal states maintained ecclesiastical administration. Southern Italy operated by the Bourbon monarchy. Northern states were more industrialized and constitutionally structured. Afterwards, Piedmontese legal and bureaucratic systems imposed nationwide, centralized tax structure, military integration. Rome annexed in 1870. Problems after. North-South economic divide weakened. Heavy taxation caused rural unrest. Brinages in southern Italy, persistent regional alienation, conflict with the papacy. Unification achieved sovereignty, but intensified internal balance. Anyway, there's a reason why decentralization works. Anyways, where am I at here? Anyway, thank you for all hanging in. Check, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Comment. Where's the guy in the beginning? Nathan, whatever his name. Where'd the hater go? He left. God love you. Have a great rest of the night. See you tomorrow. I'm doing a show with Rick tomorrow. Was what we do, the Reckoning, the weekly Reckoning tomorrow night. And I'll be back on Friday night to do the weekend wrap up of Clown Planet. Anyway, God love you. Take care. Have a great rest of the night. And see you then.